Welcome to Part 2, Heart of Clans Trilogy Book 1. Wild Diplomacy continued. Chapter 5, The Teasing. Rafe's POV. Dawn crept through the hotel curtains like it was apologizing for showing up. I hadn't slept worth a damn. The sheets were twisted around my legs, and Nikita's side of the bed was cool. She'd slipped out earlier, probably to give me space after everything yesterday. Her scent still lingered, soft and familiar, but it couldn't drown out the one that had taken root in my lungs. Pine, wildflowers, and honey, that elusive edge of something suppressed. Something Rayna. I dragged myself up, showered cold to shock some sense into my system, and dressed in black jeans and a fitted charcoal shirt. No suit today. The mediation had moved past formalities. It was raw now, all instincts and compromises. Like me. Down in the lobby breakfast area, my brothers were already sprawled around a table, plates piled high. Cass sat in the middle, looking lighter than he had in months. Sen's influence, no doubt. The panther princess had him wrapped around her tail, and for once, he wasn't fighting it. Lars lounged to his left, broad shoulders taking up too much space, smirking over his coffee. Finn, the youngest and sharpest-tongued, was on Cass's right, scrolling his phone but clearly eavesdropping. They spotted me before I reached them. Cass raised his mug in mock salute. "Morning, Alpha. You look like you wrestled your wolf all night and lost." I dropped into the empty chair, grabbing a strip of bacon from Lars's plate. "Funny, you look like you actually slept. Must be nice having your mate sorted." Cass flushed, but his grin was wide. "Sen, yeah, we're good. Thanks to the mediator?" He shot me a knowing look. "And Nikita." Lars leaned forward, elbows on the table. "Speaking of, Nick told us everything last night. The club, the grab, the bond. The whole damn thing." I froze mid-chew. "She what?" Finn snorted without looking up from his phone. "She said, and I quote, 'Your brother's finally met his match, and it's not me. Deal with it.' Then she hugged us all and went to bed. Class act." Cass nodded, serious now. "She's hurting, Rafe, but she's happy for you. Said the bond doesn't lie, and she's not going to stand in the way of something sacred." The bacon turned to ash in my mouth. 2 years. Nikita had been family. Pack. Longer than that, really. Our open relationship meant so much. She was a part of me, and she'd walked away with grace I didn't deserve. I didn't ask her to. "We know," Lars cut in. "But she did it anyway. For Cass and Sen, sure. But mostly for you. So don't waste it staring at your coffee like it's gonna bite you." Finn finally put the phone down, eyes gleaming with mischief. "Yeah, about that staring. We saw you yesterday. Every time Rayna moved a hand, your eyes tracked it like prey. When she spoke, you leaned in. When she ignored you, you practically vibrated." Lars chuckled, low and rumbling. "Big bad alpha, reduced to a lovesick pup by a woman in a pencil skirt. Pathetic, really." "Shut up," I growled, but there was no real threat. They were brothers, blood and pack. Teasing was their love language. Cass leaned back, crossing his arms. "Come on, Rafe, admit it. She's your mate, full stop. You felt it in the club, confirmed it yesterday. And Nikita basically handed you a permission slip." Finn grinned wider. "A curtsy and a nod. Classy way to say, 'Go get your girl, idiot.'" I rubbed my temples. "It's not that simple. She's the mediator. Professional to a fault. And she's hiding something. Her scent's wolf, but muted, like she spent years shoving it down." Lars raised an eyebrow. "Hybrid? Maybe, or trauma. She mentioned a grandpa once. Human sounds like. Raised her to fit in, probably." Cass's expression softened. "Sounds familiar. Sen had to fight her own family to claim me. Old ways die hard." Finn tapped the table. "So watch her today. Analyze, figure her out. You're good at that. Reading people, sense, tells, use it." Lars nodded. "And stop pretending you can ignore the bond. We all saw the sticky notes on her folder yesterday. Wolf eyes don't miss ignore him, written in red like a warning label." I huffed a laugh despite of myself. You noticed that too? Hard not to, Finn said. She crumbled it when you looked at her mouth during that panther succession point. Girl's fighting harder than you are. Cass clapped my shoulder. Talk to her, really talk, before this mediation ends and she bolts. The teasing lightened something in my chest. They weren't judging. They were pushing. Like always. We headed to the conference room. Rayna was already there. Navy suit today, hair still in that punishing bun. She looked up as we entered, eyes flicking to me. Quick, guarded, then away. Her pulse jumped. I heard it. The Panthers arrived. Fandor calm and assessing. Link still watchful near Rayna. Hector nodding politely. Nikita slipped in last, taking her seat beside me. She squeezed my hand once brief, supportive, then let go. Rayna opened, deferring to Nikita again, smart. The Panthers approved. Nikita kept it short, reinforcing support for Cass and Sen. No subtext this time. Just quiet strength. As the discussion heated, territorial overlaps, succession for potential hybrids, my brother's words echoed. Watch, analyze. I did. Rayna was a force, calm voice cutting through arguments, finding threads no one else saw. Cass retains advisory rights on wolflands, but final succession flows through Sen's line. Precedent in mixed bear clans shows it stabilizes both sides. Fandor inclined his head. Reasonable, but enforcement? Neutral council oversight, she answered smoothly. With veto only on existential threats. Her hands gestured, precise, elegant, but I caught the tremor when our eyes met. The way she gripped her pen harder when I spoke. The sticky notes. Stay focused, now underlined twice. You belong here, had a tiny checkmark next to it, like she'd convinced herself for a second. During a lull, Lars pushed back on a boundary clause. Wolves don't share hunting grounds lightly. Rayna met his gaze. Then adapt, or lose the alliance. Sen's happiness isn't negotiable. Her scent shifted. Protective, fierce. For Cass? Or something deeper? Mate instinct recognizing pack? Lunch break. Brothers cornered me in the hall again. Finn. Still staring? Lars. He practically growled when Link got too close to her. Cass. She's good, Rafe, and she's scared. Don't push too hard. But the teasing had done its job. The analysis wasn't just observation anymore. It was certainty. Afternoon dragged. More debates, more compromises. Rayna shone, but the tension between us thickened. Every glance electric, every word loaded. Session end. Progress real. Cass and Sen's path clearer. Everyone packed up. Nikita kissed my cheek. Go, she murmured. Don't be stupid. Room emptied. Rayna lingered, organizing notes. I approached. Rayna. She stiffened, but didn't bolt. Her eyes met mine, steady but shadowed. Alpha Rafe. If this is about the mediation... It's not, or it is, but more. I sat on the edge of the table, close enough to catch her scent fully. Wildflowers blooming under pine, with that suppressed wolf edge sharper now, like it was straining against her control. I've been watching you all day. Not just because my brothers teased me into it, though they did. Every tell, every shift. The notes you hide but crumple when I look too long. The way you command this room like you fought for every inch of authority. You're fighting the bond harder than any rogue I've ever met, and I need to know why. She set her pen down carefully, her movements deliberate, like she was buying time. You have no right to analyze me like that. I'm the mediator. My job is to stay neutral, focused. Whatever this pull is, it doesn't change that. But it does. I leaned forward, voice dropping. You're my mate. I knew it the second I saw you in that club. Felt it when you ran. Confirmed it yesterday when my wolf nearly broke free just looking at you. And Nikita knows. She released me. For this? For us. I paused, searching her face. But you're terrified. I can smell it. Not just of the bond, but of what it means. Abandonment? Your dad dying, leaving you half shifter in a human world? Grandpa raising you, but maybe not fully understanding? Is that it? Fear that I'll claim you and then walk away like everyone else? Her laugh was sharp, bitter, cutting through my words like a blade. She recoiled, not in fear, but in something fiercer, defiance maybe laced with pain. Abandonment? You think that's what this is? She shook her head, green eyes flashing with those gold flecks, like storm clouds parting for lightning. God, Rafe, you're so wrong, it's almost funny. I've never been abandoned. Not really. Dad died. Yeah, that hurt, but it wasn't choice. Mom left because she couldn't handle the shifter side, but she tried first. Grandpa? He stayed. Raised me human because that's what he knew. He accepted me as best he could, even if he didn't get the wolf parts. She paced a step, then another, her bun loosening slightly, a strand falling free. It made her look more wild, more real. No, it's not abandonment I'm afraid of. It's acceptance, or the lack of it. Because I've never been accepted by anyone, ever. Not fully, not as me, all of me. Human world? I hid the wolf, pretended to be normal, fit in their boxes. Shifter world? Too human, too weak, too controlled. Mediators like me. We're outsiders by design. Neutral, never belonging to one side. 6 years building this career, proving I can bridge gaps because I live in them. But acceptance? Real, bone-deep acceptance where someone sees the half-wolf, the suppressed instincts, the sticky notes and the masks, and says, yes, that's exactly what I want? That's never happened. Not once. Her words hit like a gut punch, reshaping everything I'd assumed. I'd projected my own fears, pack losses, the weight of alpha responsibility onto her, but this was deeper, lonelier. Rayna, I whispered, standing now, closing the distance but not touching. Not yet. That's what the bond is. Acceptance. Sacred, like Nikita said. It doesn't see halves or suppressions. It sees you. All of you. She stopped pacing, facing me, arms crossed like armor. Easy to say. You're alpha. Pack accepts you by default. Loyalty, family, it's built in. But me? What if you see the full me and recoil? The wolf I shoved down because it's too wild, too unpredictable for my human-raised control. The mediator who needs sticky notes to function because without them, the chaos wins. What if acceptance is just words, and when the bond pulls too hard, you realize I'm not enough, or too much? I reached out then, gently uncrossing her arms, holding her hands in mine. Her pulse raced under my thumbs, but she didn't pull away. Listen to me, really listen. I've spent the day analyzing you not to pick you apart, but to understand. Your strength. The way you weave compromises from thin air, turning snarls into agreements. That's not weakness, that's power. The suppressed wolf? I feel it stirring when you're near me, like it's waking up because it recognizes home. Not abandonment, Rayna. Home. Acceptance. I've led packs through wars, losses, rebuilds. I know what it means to see someone fully and choose them. Nikita, she accepted me, but the bond wasn't there. With you, it's screaming. And I'm not recoiling. I'm leaning in. She searched my eyes, her breath shallow, the gold flecks gleaming. Sincerity's easy in a moment, Rafe. But what about when the mediation ends? When real life hits, and I'm not the polished professional anymore? When the wolf slips out and I shift for the first time in years because I can't hold it back? Will you accept that mess? Yes. The word came fierce, unyielding. Because that's you. The mess, the control, the in-between. I've never wanted easy. Pack life isn't easy. Mates aren't easy. But they're worth it. Look at Cass and Sen, fighting cultures, families for acceptance. That's what this is. Not assumption, not abandonment. Fight for it. With me. Tears welled, but she blinked them back, her grip tightening on my hands. Slow, careful, I could see it in her posture, the way she weighed my words like evidence in a negotiation. You're sincere, I can smell it, feel it in the bond. But I've built walls for a reason. Acceptance. It's not something I trust lightly. Then take it slow, I said, pulling her closer, forehead to hers. Her scent enveloped me, wild and right. No rush. Finish the mediation. Prove to yourself you belong here in this work. But know this. I accept you. Now. Fully. No halves. No conditions. She trembled, then nodded. Careful, maybe, but a yes all the same. Maybe, she whispered, lips brushing mine in the barest touch. Electric. Promising. We'll see if your acceptance holds. It would. I knew it in my bones. The teasing had started it. Watching had confirmed it. This confession, thorough, raw, had opened the door. And her slow acceptance, it was the start of something real. As she gathered her things and left, the room felt less empty. Tomorrow, we'd wrap the mediation. Then we'd build. Acceptance, one careful step at a time.
The dream. Rayna's POV. The dream begins. Sleep came reluctantly, dragged down by exhaustion and the weight of Rafe's promise still echoing through our bond. I choose Nikita. I choose what we built. The words should have brought relief. Instead, they felt like loss. I drifted into darkness, into the space between waking and dreaming where reality blurred and truth became something fluid, and found myself running. The forest. 4 paws on earth, moonlight silvering my gray fur. Wolf form, but different than usual. Stronger, more certain, more right than I'd ever felt. The forest around me ancient and alive, towering cedars Grandpa would have recognized, their bark rough and fragrant, moss soft beneath my paws, the night air crisp with pine and possibility. I was running, but not from anything. Running to... following a pull I'd been resisting for days. A pull that felt like gravity, like magnetism, like coming home. My wolf knew where to go. Had always known. I just had to stop fighting it. He appears. Between the trees, a shadow moved. No, not a shadow. Him. Wolf form, massive and magnificent. Silver gray coat like storm clouds given form, muscles rippling with each powerful stride. Eyes that same gray as his human form, but wilder now. More honest. Alpha wolf in his element, primal and beautiful. Beyond anything I could have dreamed. My wolf should have been afraid. He was so much larger, so much stronger. Instead, recognition. Relief. Finally. He approached slowly, each step deliberate. Not hunting, not threatening. Just coming home to something he'd been missing. We met in a small clearing where moonlight pooled like liquid silver. The touch. He touched his muzzle to mine. Gentle, reverent, like I was something precious he'd been searching for. And I felt it. Unconditional acceptance. Not tolerance, not permission. Celebration. Every part of my wolf self. The late shift, the loneliness, the years of pretending to be normal. Seen. Known. Cherished. Truly seen for the first time in 6 years. He knew what I was. Somehow he knew. And he was proud. Through the dream bond, emotions flooding me. His awe at my strength. His admiration for my survival. His absolute certainty that I was perfect exactly as I was. No judgment, no fear, no reservation. Just love. Pure and uncomplicated and devastating in its totality. My wolf whined, not in distress, in relief. I'd been holding my breath for 6 years. Finally, I could breathe. The run. He pulled back, eyes bright with invitation. Run with me. And we did. Side by side through the moonlit forest, perfectly matched. My smaller frame keeping pace with his power. He adjusted his stride to mine, never leaving me behind, never making me feel less equal. Partners, mates. Through silver birch, their white trunks glowing ghostly, over fallen logs thick with moss, down a ravine where a stream caught moonlight like scattered diamonds. We leaped together, our bodies moving in synchronization. Landing. I stumbled slightly. He was there immediately, steadying me with his larger body. Through the bond, concern, protection, unwavering support. Not because I was weak. Because he wanted to be there when I fell. Back on our feet, running again. His joy in my speed. I was fast, faster than most wolves, and he loved it. My joy in his strength. He was power incarnate, and he used it to make space for me. This was what belonging felt like. Wild and free and together. Not alone anymore. Never alone again. The forest deepens. The trees grew taller, older. Ancient cedars giving way to something even more primordial. The air itself felt different. Charged, magical, liminal. We were moving into sacred space. The kind of place Grandpa used to speak of in hushed tones. Where the spirits walk, Ray Ray. Where the boundaries are thin. My wolf knew we were approaching something important. Some threshold that, once crossed, couldn't be uncrossed. But I didn't hesitate. With Rafe beside me, I could face anything. We ran faster, the pull ahead of us intensifying. Ground flying beneath our paws. Wind in our fur. Everything sharp and clear and perfect. The cliff. The forest opened suddenly. We burst through the tree line into vast openness. A cliff face rising before us. Sheer rock. Ancient and imposing. Stretching up toward a sky full of stars. Beyond the edge, emptiness. Air. A drop into darkness. We should have stopped. Should have skidded to a halt at the precipice. But the pull said, forward. And I trusted it. Trusted him. Trusted myself. We ran toward the edge, momentum carrying us. And I felt it beginning. The shift. The transformation. Still running, my wolf form changing. Wings curving outward from my shoulders, black feathers erupting. Wolf form curving inward, becoming smaller, sleeker. Bones hollowing, muscles compacting. Fur transforming to plumage. The shift usually hurt. Bones breaking, reforming, pain necessary for transformation. Not this time. This was fluid, natural, right. Like my body knew this was always possible, always meant to be. My front paws left the ground first, body already airborne. Raven form taking over, glossy black feathers, sharp beak, eyes that saw differently. The world shifting into new spectrums, new understanding. My wings spread wide, catching air that felt solid beneath them. I took flight. The sky. Rising, rising, soaring. The cliff falling away below me, Rafe's wolf form standing at the edge. Higher, higher, the forest becoming a dark carpet beneath me, the stars close enough to touch. Freedom unlike anything wolf form could know. The ability to rise above, to see everything, to fly. This was my raven, my secret, my truth. And he was watching, unable to look back. Banking in the air, I tried to turn. Tried to look down at him to see his reaction. But I couldn't. Unable to look at my mate. Not physically. My raven eyes could see perfectly. Emotionally. Terrified of what I'd see. Rejection? Horror? Disgust? I'd shown him what I really was. Not wolf. Not pure. Not normal. Multi-shifter. Abnormal. Wrong. I just left him. Left him standing on the ground while I flew. Left him behind because I was something he couldn't follow. Left him like everyone left eventually. The realization hit like a physical blow. Suffocating sadness. Suffocating. The joy of flight vanishing, replaced by crushing grief. Sadness so heavy it should have pulled me from the sky. I'd done it again. Been different. Been too much. Been impossible to stay with. And now he knew. Now he'd seen what I really was. And I was alone again. Always alone. I circled higher, each wing beat feeling like a loss. My raven's cry, harsh and mournful, echoing across the empty sky. Grieving a wolf I'd had for mere moments. Grieving the acceptance that had felt so real. Grieving the belonging I'd finally found and immediately destroyed. But still feeling him. Except, the bond didn't break. I could still fully feel him. Not fading with distance like it should. not weakening as I flew further from the cliff, growing stronger. His presence in my chest, in my heart, undeniable and unwavering. Confusion cutting through grief. How? I'd left him, abandoned him, revealed my wrongness. The bond should have snapped, should have shattered, should have proven what I'd always known. That I was too different to keep. But it hadn't. It was there, solid and certain as the air beneath my wings. I stopped climbing, hung suspended in the night sky, focused on the bond, on the feeling of him, and felt his emotions. Love. Not diminished, not conditional. Absolute and overwhelming and directed at me. At this form, this revelation, this truth I'd been hiding. Adoration. Like I was something precious. Something beautiful. Not despite the raven form. Because of it. Pride. Pride in my multiple forms. Not shame, not disappointment. Pride that I could shift, could fly, could be more than one thing. Like my difference was strength, not weakness. Like my ability to transform was gift, not curse. His acceptance of every single one of them. Wolf and raven and whatever else I might be. All of me. Nothing held back. Nothing rejected. Everything cherished. The emotions flooded through the bond so strongly I almost fell from the sky. He wasn't horrified. He was awed. His voice. And then, his voice. Not spoken aloud. Through the bond, soul deep and unmistakable. Rayna. My name like a prayer. Like a promise. Like everything. You doubt my ability to love all of your forms. All of your soul. The words resonating through me. Undeniable truth. I did doubt. Had always doubted. Had spent 6 years certain that revealing my truth would mean rejection. But he continued. My strength is greater than all your fears combined. Not arrogance, not bravado. Simple fact. He was stronger than my fear of abandonment. Stronger than my certainty of rejection. Stronger than 6 years of hiding and loneliness and self-protection. Strong enough to love all of me. Even, especially, the parts I'd been afraid to show. The parts I thought made me unlovable. He saw them, and loved me more. The shift back. I dove. Wings tucked, body plummeting toward earth. Not falling, flying with purpose. Toward the cliff. Toward him. Toward everything I'd been too afraid to reach for. Halfway down, I shifted again. Raven to wolf, feathers to fur, hollow bones to solid strength. Landing on 4 paws at the cliff's edge right beside him. His wolf form turned to me immediately. Those gray eyes holding everything his voice had promised. Love. Acceptance. Pride. Certainty. I see you. All of you. And you're perfect. I shifted to human without thought, easier in dreams, fluid and natural. He followed, becoming the man I'd danced with, whose touch had burned perfect against my skin. We stood facing each other, moonlight silvering our skin. Both naked. Dreams didn't care about clothing. Both vulnerable. Souls more exposed than bodies. Both certain. His words continue. I felt you doubt, he said quietly, reaching up to touch my face. Felt you think I'd reject you. I left you, I whispered. I flew away. And I felt your joy in it. His thumb brushing my cheekbone. Felt you finally free. How could I be anything but proud? Tears starting, I couldn't stop them. You're not disgusted? Rayna, both hands cupping my face now. You're magnificent. Multiple forms means you're more, not less. Means you're stronger, more adaptable, more incredible than I could have imagined. Why would I be disgusted by a miracle? Because everyone? I'm not everyone. Firm, absolute. I'm your mate. And mates don't reject gifts. He pulled me closer, our bodies finally touching. Skin to skin, heartbeat to heartbeat, soul to soul. You can shift into anything, he murmured against my hair. Wolf, raven, whatever else you haven't shown me yet. And I will love every single form. Because they're all you. The bond completes. I looked up at him, tears streaming. How are you real? He smiled, tender and fierce at once. Could ask you the same thing. I'm afraid, I admitted. Afraid of wanting this. Afraid you'll wake up and it won't be real? Afraid I'll wake up and you'll have come to your senses. Not possible. His forehead against mine. My wolf claimed you the moment we met. Before I even knew what you were. The bond doesn't lie, Rayna. It recognized your soul, not your form. And your soul is beautiful. The bond between us flared, burning bright and perfect. Everything I'd been holding back. 6 years of loneliness, grief, fear, hope, flooding through it. Meeting his certainty, his strength, his absolute refusal to let me push him away. This was it. The moment of choice. Accept or reject. Risk or safety. Everything or nothing. The acceptance. I'm yours, I whispered. His eyes flashed wolf bright. Say it again. I'm yours, Rafe. And I'm mine. Pulling him down. You're mine. He kissed me. Not gentle, not patient. Claiming. And I kissed back with 6 years of hunger, of denial, of desperate loneliness finally ending. The bond snapped fully into place. Not subtle, not gradual. Complete. His emotions flooding me. Love, desire, pride, possessiveness, joy. My emotions flooding him. Relief, wonder, fear becoming hope, desperate need. Both of us gasping at the intensity. Feel that? He breathed against my mouth. Yes. That's us. Bonded, claimed, forever. Forever, I echoed, believing it finally. The dream deepens. He lifted me. Dream physics making it effortless, carrying me away from the cliff edge. To softer ground where moonlight pooled like water. Laying me down on moss that felt like silk. His body covering mine, perfect weight, perfect fit. Show me, he murmured, kissing down my throat. Show me all your forms. Now? Eventually. His mouth at my collarbone. Right now, show me this form. Show me Rayna, my mate, my love, mine. And I did. Gave myself to him completely, body, soul, every hidden part finally revealed. He worshipped each piece he discovered. Each vulnerability, each strength, each secret place. Through the bond, I felt his awe. His gratitude that I was trusting him with this. His determination to prove worthy of that trust. When we finally came together, dream bodies making it seamless and perfect. The bond sang. His voice wakes me. We lay tangled together afterward, his arms around me, my head on his chest. Safe. Accepted. Home. I love you, he said quietly. Every form, every secret, every fear. All of your soul, Rayna. My strength is greater than your fears. Remember that when you wake. The words resonating through me, anchoring in my bones. Remember that I chose you. All of you. And I'm never letting go. The dream beginning to fade, reality creeping in. No, not yet. I wasn't ready. His voice urgent now. Rayna, wake up. I need you. Come to me. Waking. I jolted awake, gasping. Hotel room. Darkness, alone. But the bond. Oh God, the bond. It was real. Not dream bond. Real bond. Fully snapped into place, burning bright and undeniable between us. I could feel him. Not just vague awareness. Everything. His emotions. Need, desperation, fear, becoming hope, absolute certainty. His location, close, so close. Moving closer. His intention, get to me now. My own wolf surging in response. Mate, go to mate. Now. Jumping out of bed. I jumped out of bed. No thought, only instinct. Barefoot, wearing only sleep shorts and tank top. Didn't matter. Nothing mattered except him. Hand on the door handle, yanking it open. The hallway dim, quiet, empty except he is already on his feet nearing my room. 20 feet away. 15. 10. Still dressed from yesterday, like he'd never gone home. Hair wild, eyes wilder. The bond between us screaming. We moved simultaneously, closing the distance. Meeting in the middle of the hallway. His hands immediately in my hair, my arms around his neck. The cataclysm. Cataclysm of emotion. Love and need and desperate relief. 6 years of loneliness ending. A lifetime of fear dissolving. Everything I'd been holding back flooding through the bond. Meeting everything he'd been holding back. His mouth found mine. Not a kiss, a claiming. Desperate and perfect and absolutely right. I kissed back with everything I had. 6 years of hiding, 6 years of loneliness, 6 years of being too different, too much, too wrong. All of it burning away in the heat between us. Need overwhelming thought. My hands in his hair, on his shoulders, mapping the body I'd only touched in dreams. His hands everywhere, face, throat, hips, like he couldn't choose where to touch first, needed all of me at once. Need more kissing, harder, deeper. His taste, pine and snow and something wild, exactly like the dream. But real now, solid. Here. My back hit the wall. When did we move? His body pinning mine. Not threatening, grounding. Rayna, he gasped against my mouth. Don't talk, I managed, don't. More kissing, more touching, more everything. The bond roaring approval. Yes. This. Mate. Ours. His scent overwhelming me, his strength perfect against my softness. Every point of contact sent electricity through my nervous system. This was what I'd been missing. What I'd been denying. What I needed more than air. Protection. A door opened somewhere down the hall. Rafe's growl, actual growl, vibrating through his chest. Pure alpha possession. No one sees her like this. He swept me up without breaking the kiss. Carried me back toward my room, kicking the door closed behind us with one foot. Protection. Instinctive. Absolute. Shielding me from the world, from witnesses, from anything that might interrupt this. His alone. Mine alone. Private. Sacred. Ours. Setting me down only to pull me closer immediately. Like even a second of separation was unbearable. Through the bond. His need to keep me safe, to claim me completely. To make sure nothing and no one could come between us. Overwhelming. Perfect. Yes, my wolf sang. Protect. Claim. Keep. Instinct on auto drive. Instinct set on auto drive. No conscious thought anymore. Just bodies moving, hands seeking, mouths demanding. His shirt. I was pulling at buttons, needing them gone. He helped, shrugging it off, never breaking the kiss. My tank top, his hands sliding underneath, mapping skin. I arched into his touch, gasping. More. Need more. Somehow we were moving toward the bed. Stumbling, neither willing to let go long enough to walk properly. His hands on my hips, guiding me backward. My hands on his shoulders, pulling him forward. The bond singing between us. Yes. This. Finally. Ours. Passion the destination. Well, passion was the destination. Not just physical, though God, the physical was overwhelming. But deeper. Soul deep. The bond completing something that had been broken in both of us. His loneliness meeting mine. His need to protect meeting my need to belong. His strength meeting my adaptability. Perfect complement, perfect fit, perfect mate. The backs of my knees hit the bed. I fell backward, pulling him with me. He caught himself on his arms, hovering over me. Gray eyes burning into mine. Tell me this is real, he breathed. It's real. Tell me you want this. I want this. Want you. Want... He kissed me again, swallowing the rest of the words. His weight settling over me. Perfect pressure, perfect rightness. This was what I'd been missing. Not just touch. Not just connection. Home. Minimal words. His mouth on my throat, teeth grazing. I felt you. he murmured against my skin. In the dream. Felt you fly. My breath catching. You were there, really there. Mate bond. Kiss. Connects dreams. Kiss. Connects everything. Kiss. You saw. Every part of you, pulling back to look at me. And you're beautiful. Rafe. Say it. Say you're mine. I'm yours. His eyes flashing wolf bright. Again. I'm yours, Rafe. My hands in his hair, pulling him back down. And you're mine. Yes. Say it. I'm yours, Rayna. Always. More kissing, more touching. His hands sliding down, finding the waistband of my sleep shorts. Pausing, asking permission without words. Through the bond. Is this okay? Can I? Please? Through the bond back. Yes, please, need you. Her confession. But I pulled back slightly, needing to say it. Needing him to understand before we went further. I'm not just Wolf, I whispered. I know. Multiple forms. Raven and... I know, kissing me softly. Felt it in the dream. I saw it. And you're not... Rayna, firm, absolute. You are my hope, not my fear. Each word punctuated with a kiss. You're extraordinary. Gifted. Perfect. You shift into multiple forms? Another kiss. That makes you more, not less. But other shifters... I'm not other shifters, I'm your mate. Looking at me with such intensity, I couldn't look away. The bond chose you, not your wolf. You... Every form, every secret, every impossible thing about you. I love all of it. My eyes filling with tears. How are you real? Could ask you the same thing. He kissed me again, tender now. My strength is greater than your fears, remember? The words from the dream, real and solid and true. I remember. Good. His forehead against mine, because I'm not going anywhere. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. You're stuck with me, multi-shifter and all. I laughed, crying, pulling him closer. Stuck with you. I can live with that. Good. And then no more words. Just bodies and bond and the absolute certainty that this was right. This was real. This was forever. The claiming. What followed was heat and need and perfect synchronization. Learning each other's bodies while our souls already knew each other completely. His touch reverent and demanding at once. My responses honest and uninhibited. Through the bond, feeling what he felt. His awe at finally touching me. His gratitude that I trusted him with this. His determination to prove worthy. His absolute possession, mine, mine, mine. And him feeling what I felt. My relief at finally belonging. My wonder at being accepted. My desperate need for connection. A complete surrender. Yours, yours, yours. When we finally came together, the bond asterisk flared. Brighter than moonlight, stronger than gravity. Undeniable as breath. Claiming each other in every way that mattered. Bodies and souls and futures tangling until there was no separation. No his and hers. Just us. After, we lay tangled together, breathing hard. His arms around me, my head on his chest. The bond humming contentedly between us. Finally quiet. Finally settled. That really happened, I whispered. Yes. The dream. The bond. This. Yes. Kissing my head. All of it. Rafe. Don't. Gentle but firm. Don't start second-guessing. Don't start thinking of reasons this can't work. It already worked. We're bonded. Claimed. Done. I propped up on my elbow to look at him. What about Nikita? Pain flashing across his face. She knew before I did, I think. Yesterday, she gave us permission. That's why she stepped aside. She knew the bond was inevitable. My heart aching for her. That's incredibly gracious. She's an incredible person. His hand coming up to cut my face. But she's not you. She's not my mate. You are. Simple, certain, undeniable. What happens now? I asked quietly. Now? He smiled, tired and happy. Now we sleep. Tomorrow we figure out the rest. Together, my love. You called me my love. I asked. My love, all of you. It's what you are. He exhaled in such satisfaction. My love. Your love, I agreed. The bond. I settled back against his chest, his arms tightening around me. Ironclad. Safe. Accepted. I was home. For the first time in 6 years, maybe the first time in my whole life. I wasn't alone. I wasn't hiding. Wasn't pretending to be something I wasn't. Just me. All of me. And with every breath he took, his claim was enough. Through the bond, his love wrapping around me like a blanket. Warm. Constant. Unshakable. My strength is greater than your fears, he'd said. And lying there, feeling his certainty, his acceptance, his absolute refusal to let me go. I believed it. Maybe, this could work. Maybe I could have this. Maybe I deserved this. Love you, he murmured, already drifting toward sleep. Love you too, I whispered back, meaning it completely. My mate, my home, my future. All because of one drink, one dance, one impossible recognition, and a bond that refused to be denied. Sleep pulled me under, Rafe's heartbeat steady beneath my ear. No more nightmares, no more loneliness, just dreams of flying while he watched with pride, and the absolute certainty that when I landed, he'd be there waiting. Always. The monster of wholeness. I woke up whole. For the first time in a decade, the constant static of loneliness had gone silent, replaced by a warm, heavy presence against my back. Rafe's arm lay across my waist, his breath stirring the hair at my nape, his heartbeat thumping slow and steady against my spine. The bond between us hummed, a deep, satisfied current that made my skin feel too small for everything I was feeling. But with the wholeness came a new awareness. Through the connection, I could feel his wolf pacing. Not from desire, but from a protectiveness so intense it bordered on violence. Every time I shifted, his arm tightened, subconsciously checking that I was still there, still safe. My phone buzzed. I reached for it carefully, not wanting to wake him. Panther delegation requests immediate audience. 9 a.m. Your presence is expected. The word hung heavy. Expected. Not required. Not requested. Expected. As if my bonding had changed the mathematics of the negotiation. They've been watching us, I whispered, more to myself than to him. Rafe stirred, his hand flexing against my stomach. I know. Shadow trackers. Stalkers. His voice was gravel against my shoulder. Now that we've bonded, they'll watch closer. Because of what it means for my position. Because of what it means for your safety. He pressed a kiss to my shoulder blade, but I could feel the tension coiling in him. Whatever happens today, you have to let me... Stay calm, I finished, turning to face him. His eyes were storm gray and turbulent. Promise me, you won't lose control. My secret depends on it. He cupped my jaw, thumb brushing my cheekbone. The touch was tender, but the hand beneath it trembled with restraint of force. I promise. Famous last words. The conference room smelled of expensive coffee and impending disaster. I walked in at Rafe's side, hyper-aware of how the claiming scent clung to us both. Pine and wildflowers, unmistakable. My eyes found his brother's immediately. Lars broke into a slow grin, relief washing over his face. Finn lit up, sharp and young and joyful. Cass managed a small smile, the guilt over his own cross-species bond seeming to ease slightly at the sight of his brother settled. They'd never seen him like this, anchored, and their happiness was a physical thing, warming the room. The Panthers noticed too. Fandor stood, formal and unreadable. Congratulations on your claiming. We honor fated mates. Thank you, I said, sliding my professional mask into place like armor. Link smiled, genuine and warm. A beautiful bond. Then Fandor's expression shifted, becoming careful. However, your position as mediator is compromised. You are bonded to one party. Perception matters. Through the bond, I felt Rafe's wolf coil. Felt his hands grip the table edge, knuckles whitening. A low growl rumbled from his chest. Audible, sharp, filling the silence before he could swallow it back. The panther's head snapped toward him. Golden eyes sharpened with immediate, predatory interest. I put my hand on his thigh under the table, pressing hard. Breathe. He gritted his teeth. I apologize. Sitting too long. Cramp. My brothers-in-law turned slowly, almost in unison. Lars tensed, confused by the sound of an apology coming from Rafe's throat. Finn's eyebrow shot up. Cass shifted, mirroring the aggression but uncertain, because Rafe never apologized. He dominated. But the Panthers didn't relax. Fandor tilted his head, cataloging the contradiction. The growl still vibrating into the air, the dominance rolling off Rafe in waves, and then the clipped, forced apology. He saw an alpha pretending to be tame, and it made him hungrier. I understand your concern, I said quickly, but my record is impeccable, Fandor interrupted. This is about protocol. When treaty work involves historical adversaries, lineage verification is standard. Historical adversaries? Lars leaned forward, picking up on Rafe's defensive energy despite his confusion. I tried to catch Rafe's eye, silently pleading, "Settle, please." Instead, his dominance spiked. The air grew heavy, suffocating. Hector shifted uncomfortably. Link's smile faded into wariness. Fandor watched Rafe with the focus of a cat who'd spotted a mouse limping. I propose transparency, I said, my voice steady despite the terror spiking through our bond. I'll submit to lineage verification. Acceptable, Fandor said, but he was still watching Rafe. Hector leaned forward. We must discuss the children question. Rafe's wolf lifted its head. I felt it through the connection. A sudden, sharp attention. In cross-species matings, Hector continued, offspring carry only one animal spirit. The magic chooses one path. A child of Cass and Sen will be wolf or panther, never both. Cass shifted uncomfortably. We've discussed this. Whatever our children are, they'll be loved. Of course, Linker agreed. But there are practical considerations. If they manifest as wolf shifters, they'll still carry panther nobility through Sen's bloodline. They'll need proper recognition within wolf territory. Ceremonial acknowledgement, cultural education, formal presentation to Panther Court when they come of age. I felt Rafe's hands tighten on the table. The idea of Panther Courts having authority over wolf pups in his territory made his wolf snarl, the sound leaking out before he could stop it. Our pack understands acceptance. He ground out, the words strained. We've taken in late shifters over the years, kids who needed family. Late shifters? Fandor's interest sharpened. How many? I squeezed Rafe's arm. Hard. 5, Rafe said, dominance leaking into the room like smoke. Interesting, Fandor murmured. That's quite a few for a single pack. Good kids, Lars added, his jaw tight. Integrated well. Late shifters are rare but documented, Link said, watching Rafe carefully. True multi-shifters are myth. The word myth landed like a stone. I didn't flinch, but I felt Rafe feel my pulse spike through the bond. Cross-species children just need acceptance, Rafe growled, the sound ripping from his chest. Like late shifters, like anyone who doesn't fit the standard mold. The panther's eyes sharpened. They heard the growl beneath the words. He tried to dial back. I felt him forcing calm through the bond, trying to project tranquility. The result was catastrophic. The pressure built, then snapped. His wolf snarled, loud, guttural, making the windows rattle. Silence. Then he ground out, through teeth clenched so hard I could hear enamel cracking. I apologize. Coffee. Bad batch. Lars stared at him like he'd been body snatched. Finn looked between us, lost. Cass tensed, ready to fight, because this was wrong. Rafe should be dominating, not apologizing. But the Panthers weren't fooled. Fandor leaned forward, suspicion bright in his eyes. He saw the dominating alpha energy that hadn't diminished, saw the apology as performance, not sincerity. Perhaps, Rafe forced out. Each word scraped raw. We should discuss oversight procedures. Another mistake. Quarterly visits from Panther representatives, Hector said carefully, to ensure the princess maintains cultural connections and that any children are properly recognized in both courts. Quarterly visits? The growl erupted, making the lights flicker. You're talking about supervision of my pack's children. The room froze. Rafe gritted his teeth. I felt the war inside him, the need to protect Waring with his promise to me. I apologize. That was inappropriate. The confusion from his brothers was a physical thing, but the Panthers leaned in. They saw the danger now. Not uncontrolled aggression, but aggression being strangled. An alpha trying to wear a mask that didn't fit, making him unpredictable. Volatile. Fandor's gaze slid to me, then back to Rafe. Alpha Rafe, your scent, and your mates. Now that the bond has amplified it, it's layered. Complex. I dug my nails into his arm. Warning. Fear. Unusual for a late shifter, Fandor continued quietly, to have such complexity. The room breathed in. They knew. We require immediate lineage verification, Fandor said. Tomorrow, full genealogical workup. My voice was steady, but I felt myself crumbling through the bond. Agreed, but results stay confidential to this room. Agreed. When the door closed behind them, I turned to Rafe. The walls were already back up in my eyes, brick by brick, mortar of necessity. I asked you for one thing, I said quietly. Stay calm. Rayna. You growled, then you apologized, then you growled louder and apologized again. I paced, a trapped animal. Do you understand what they saw? Not a controlled alpha, not a diplomat. They saw an alpha who can't control his own contradictions. They saw instability. The bond. The bond isn't an excuse. I stopped, facing him, and let him see the devastation. And now, because you couldn't just do as I asked for a couple of hours, they're going to run tests that will show exactly what I am. I walked out before he could answer, the bond stretching taut between us, humming with his confusion and my regret. The architecture of immunity. The hotel suite felt smaller the next morning. Not because the walls had moved, but because every inch of space carried the weight of my stupidity. I stood at the window, arms wrapped around myself, watching rain streak the glass in slow silver lines. The city below looked blurred and distant. My reflection stared back. Dark circles under my eyes, hair still tangled from Rafe's hands, lips swollen from kisses that had felt like promises. The bond hummed between us. Steady now. A deep current. I could feel him in the other room. Shower running, heartbeat calm but alert, wolf pacing. He was giving me space. Deliberately. Because he knew I needed it. Because I'd been an idiot. Yesterday had been a disaster of my making. Not because of what Rafe had done, but because of what I'd asked him not to do. Every time I'd caught his eye and silently pleaded for restraint, when Hector mentioned submissive rituals, when Link asked about my unique perspective, when Fandor's golden gaze lingered too long on my throat, I had been asking him to fight his very nature. I'd asked an alpha protector to be a mediator, like asking fire not to burn. The bathroom door opened behind me. Rafe stepped out, towel slung low on his hips, hair dripping, skin flushed. He didn't speak at first. Just crossed the carpet in bare feet and stopped close enough that I could feel his heat. You've been standing there for 20 minutes, he said, voice low, thinking yourself in circles. I didn't turn. I'm thinking I ruined everything. Look at me. The command in his voice made my spine straighten instinctively. I turned. His eyes were storm gray and intense, fixed on me with that unwavering focus that made me feel simultaneously exposed and protected. Say it, he ordered quietly, whatever's eating at you, out loud. I swallowed hard. I asked you to be something you're not. Keep going. Yesterday. Every time you started to rise, every time your wolf wanted to defend me, I asked you to sit down. To stay neutral. To be a mediator instead of... My voice cracked. Instead of what you actually are. He stepped closer, crowding into my space. And what am I? A protector, I whispered. An alpha. You're not built for neutrality, Rafe. You're built to defend what's yours. Finally. He cupped my jaw, tilting my face up. Took you long enough to figure that out. You should have pushed back, I said, frustration bleeding in. You should have told me I was being an idiot. Not done what my mate asked? He cut through my words. You asked for my trust, so I gave it. Even though you knew it was wrong? Even though it felt wrong. His thumb brushed my cheekbone. There's a difference. I knew my instincts were screaming, but I also knew you're smart and experienced. Maybe you saw something I didn't. The simple faith in his voice made my throat tight. I didn't see anything. I was scared they'd see you as a threat if you acted protective. How much did the bond influence you listening to me? I asked suddenly. Yesterday, when I kept giving you those looks, asking you to stand down, you actually did it. So, I'm trying to figure out how much of that was the mate of bond making you comply versus your own choice. Like, what percentage would you say? He laughed, a sharp, disbelieving sound. You want me to quantify mate bond influence like it's a pie chart? It's a reasonable question. I need to know if you're making decisions because you actually agree with me or because some mystical bond is overriding your judgment. Completely, he said, still grinning. 100%. What else would make me sit there like a good boy while predators circled my mate? That can't be right. You're too strong-willed to be completely controlled. Not controlled, influenced. He stepped closer. The bond doesn't make me a puppet, Rayna. It makes your wishes matter more than my instincts, which, for an alpha, is basically the same thing as complete influence. But that seems excessive? I mean, with most alphas I work with, I don't need some magical bond to get them to listen. I just have to establish boundaries early, hold my chin a little higher until they adapt to treating me as an equal. The amusement died on his face. He went very still, that predator stillness. What did you just say? That I establish boundaries? It's basic professional. You hold your chin higher, he said, voice flat. And they adapt. Yes? It's not complicated. Confident body language, direct eye contact, refusing to show submission. Most dominant personalities respond well once you make it clear you're not going to be intimidated. Most dominant personalities, he repeated. Well, yes. I mean, some of them try harder than others at first, but eventually they all... Rayna. He cut my face, urgent now. That's not how this works. Alpha dominance, wolf hierarchy. Any of it. When an alpha meets another wolf, especially a female wolf, there's a biological imperative, a dominance display. It's not optional. But that's exactly what happens, I protested. Once I make it clear I'm not going to back down. They should make you back down. His voice was getting rougher. Rayna, an alpha's dominance isn't a negotiation tactic you can counter with good posture. It's a biological force that compels submission from lesser wolves. The fact that you can just hold your chin up and they adapt? He shook his head slowly. That's impossible. It's not impossible. It's literally what I do every day. Name them. His voice had gone hard. Every alpha you've worked with who adapted to you. Name them. Marcus Ironwood, Catherine Blackpaw, Thomas Silvercrest, dozens of others. Some of the most dominant alphas on the continent, he interrupted. And you're telling me none of them ever made you feel the urge to lower your eyes, to bow your head, to show throat? I thought about it. Really thought about it for the first time. No, never. I mean, they're intimidating, sure, but I've never felt compelled. Just aware that I needed to project confidence. Jesus Christ, he released me, running both hands through his damp hair. Rayna, what you're describing isn't professional confidence. It's immunity. Immunity to what? To alpha dominance. To the biological imperative that governs every single wolf interaction. He turned back to me, all mixed with concern in his eyes. Whatever you are, whatever's been shielding you, it's been protecting you your entire career, making you invisible to dominance displays that should have forced you to your knees 100 times over. Before I could fully process that revelation, my phone buzzed. Fandor. Lineage verification team arrives at 2 p.m. Today. Blood draw and magical trace. Private room. Your presence and Alpha Rafe's expected. Rafe read it over my shoulder, and I felt his body go tense. 2 hours, he said grimly. Rafe, what if they find... Then we deal with it. He pulled me close. Whatever you are, whatever's been protecting you, we face it together. The lineage verification room was sterile and cold. White walls, single table, silver bowl etched with ancient panther sigils. The two elder panthers waited in ceremonial black. Fandor stood by the door, observer rather than participant. I sat in the chair they indicated, Rafe standing behind me, close enough that I could feel his heat, his presence a wall of protection that I no longer tried to diminish. The female elder approached with a ceremonial blade. 3 drops, she said quietly. No more, no less. I held out my hand, palm up. The blade pricked my finger, sharp, quick. 3 drops of blood fell into the silver bowl with tiny bell-like sounds. The male elder began to chant, low rhythmic words in a language that tasted like moonlight. The female joined him, their voices weaving together in harmonies that made my bones vibrate. The blood in the bowl began to swirl. Not red anymore, shimmering silver, then gold, then deep black with flecks that caught the light like stars. The chanting faltered. Both elders leaned forward, staring into the bowl with expressions of growing confusion and alarm. Behind me, Rafe's hands settled on my shoulders, possessive, protective, unapologetic about claiming me in front of witnesses. The female elder looked up, her face carefully neutral. Your lineage is... complex. Complex how? Wolf dominant, clear, strong, but layered beneath. Raven markers, and something older. She exchanged a look with her companion. Something we cannot identify. The male elder leaned forward. The magical signature is... unusual, fragmented, as if parts of your heritage are actively shielded from detection. Shielded by what? Fandor asked sharply. Unknown. The female elder packed away her instruments with movements that were just a little too quick. We'll need to consult the archives, bring in specialists from the old country. This level of magical complexity requires extensive research. How long? Days, possibly weeks. The male elder was already sealing the silver bowl in protective cloth. The sample will need to be examined by our most senior archivists. And until then? I asked. Until then, Fandor said quietly, the negotiations are suspended. The conference room felt like a tomb when we returned. Cass and Sen sat close together, fingers intertwined. Lars drummed his claws against the polished wood. Finn's amber eyes tracked our every movement. Fandor cleared his throat. The lineage verification has raised questions that require further investigation. Our archivists need additional time. We'll reconvene when the research is complete. Until then, negotiations are postponed. The 3 panthers filed out in silence. Cass and Sen exchanged a quiet look, devastation clear in both their eyes, then left together without a word. Silence filled the conference room, heavy, expectant. Lars and Finn remained. You two don't have to stay, I said carefully. Lars's jaw tightened. Want to tell us what actually happened in that verification room? I glanced at Rafe, who gave an almost imperceptible nod. The results were inconclusive, I said slowly. My lineage showed some markers they weren't expecting. What kind of markers? Finn asked, his youthful face serious. The kind that require specialists to interpret, Rafe said. Nothing dangerous, just unexpected. Finn's amber eyes narrowed. The panthers seemed pretty spooked for just unexpected. They're cautious, I said. No, Lars said bluntly. They're terrified, which means you terrify them, which means... He looked at his brother. She's powerful. You chose her, Lars said, looking directly at Rafe. Not a question, a statement. I did, Rafe said simply. And the bond took. It did. Finn leaned back, studying his oldest brother. You raised us after Mom and Dad died. Could have dumped us with relatives, could have focused on becoming alpha. You didn't? Not once, Lars agreed quietly. You chose us every single time. So, if you chose her, Lars continued, that's good enough for us. We don't turn our backs on you, Finn said simply. Ever, which means we don't turn our backs on your choices either. Lars stood, and there was steel beneath his casual posture. Whatever the Panthers find in their archives, she's family now. That's not negotiable. After they left, I turned to Rafe, stunned by the quiet certainty of their loyalty. They trust you completely, I whispered. Family, he said simply, pulling me close. The kind built on choice and sacrifice, not just blood. I leaned into his warmth, processing everything. The revelation about my immunity to alpha dominance, the mysterious shielding in my bloodline, the unconditional loyalty from his brothers. Outside, rain kept falling against the windows in steady silver streams. Inside, the bond burned steady and true, connecting two souls who were finally learning what it meant to be mates. Whatever the archives revealed, whatever ancient magic had been shielding me, whatever I truly was, we would handle it together.
2 days of waiting had worn us all thin. I found Rayna on the upper patio of the hotel that morning, sitting in one of the wrought iron chairs with her hands wrapped around a coffee mug that had gone cold hours ago. She'd been up here thinking since dawn. I could feel her restless energy through the bond even from our room. "Mind if I join you?" I asked, settling into the chair beside hers. She leaned against my shoulder without speaking, and we sat in comfortable silence for a moment, watching the city bustle below us. "Fandor contacted me. He says you have resigned so the treaty negotiations can resume. Are you okay?" "He just left a few minutes ago. He told me about the lineage verification results," she said finally. "What did he say?" "To warn me." She set down her mug and turned to face me. "He said the archivists found no records and had to recruit expert elders for additional resources. Once the expert elders get involved, it's out of his hands. The archivists were his authority to call. Lineage verification is standard for treaty negotiations. But expert elders answer to different powers." My stomach dropped. "What kind of different powers?" "The matriarchs, the old bloodlines, people who care more about ancient knowledge than modern treaties." Her voice was carefully controlled. "He said the archivist's recommendation to bring in expert elders wasn't his choice. He can't control what happens next." "What else did he say?" "He offered me an out." She met my eyes. "In panther culture, a mated female can claim her mate's family lineage as her own. I could stop this process right now. Take on your bloodline for the records." I nodded slowly. It was the same in wolf culture. Anyone without family records, orphans, those lost to their packs, could be adopted into their mate's lineage. It was common, accepted, practical. "You could do that," I agreed. "It's legitimate. No one would question it. Your career will continue, just not mediating for your own pack." I took her hand and smiled warmly. "The negotiations for your pack will continue regardless. The treaty will be signed. No more questions about what I am. An escape route. A safe, honorable way to protect her from whatever the expert elders might discover." "But you won't take it," I said, watching her face. "No." "Why not?" "Because I want to know, Rafe." Her voice cracked slightly. 24 years of hiding from my own nature, of being afraid to explore what I might be capable of. This is my chance to finally get real answers. Even if those answers are dangerous. Especially if they are. She pulled back to look at me fully. My grandfather's stories about the ancients destroying whose civilizations. What if they weren't just folklore? What if that's exactly what I am? Something rare, but with deep roots I will never find on my own? I reached for her hand. Then we dig deeper, together. But what if... Okay, seriously, what the hell is happening out here? Finn's voice boomed across the patio as he burst through the door, Lars right behind him looking more composed but equally determined. I groaned. Of course, the upper patio was easily accessible from the main hotel, difficult for Panther shadow trackers, perfect for nosy brothers to track us down. "Your stress is radiating through the entire building," Lars said matter-of-factly as they approached our table. "We could feel it from the elevator." "This is a private conversation," I said. "Nothing's private when you're broadcasting emotions like a distress beacon," Finn replied, pulling up a chair without invitation. The alpha bond works both ways, brother. Lars settled more diplomatically into the remaining chair. We're worried about you. Both of you, we heard the negotiations are going to resume, without Rayna. It's fine, Rayna said automatically. It doesn't look fine. Finn leaned forward. You've been up here angsting for hours. Rafe's been pacing the hotel room like a caged animal. What's going on? I looked at Rayna questioningly. Her choice whether to tell them. She took a deep breath. Fandor offered me a way out. I could claim Rafe's family lineage as my own. Stop the expert lineage investigation before it starts. That's actually smart, Finn said thoughtfully. Clean, simple, avoids complications. The archivists found nothing in my blood, she said quietly. No lineage markers at all. Okay, Lars said slowly. That's weird, but... I'm not just Wolf, she interrupted, the words tumbling out in a rush. I can shift into other forms too. Both brothers went very still. What other forms? Lars asked carefully. Raven, definitely. Maybe others I've never tried. She wrapped her arms around herself. I've been hiding it my whole life. Haven't shifted into anything but wolf since I was a teenager. Silence stretched for exactly 3 seconds. Then Finn's face split into a huge grin. Are you serious? That's incredible. What? You can shift into wolf and raven. He turned to Lars, bouncing slightly in his chair. Dude, Rafe's mate can shift into 2 different animals. That's actually fascinating, Lars agreed, eyes bright with interest. Finn moved closer, studying Rayna with open curiosity and zero sense of personal boundaries. Can you shift partially, like features from one form while mostly in another? I don't know. I've never tried. You should try. That would be so cool. He paused, eyes widening. Wait, you said raven. You can fly? In raven form, yes, but... You're a superhero. Finn jumped up from his chair. Rafe's mate is a literal superhero. I'm not a superhero. You literally have abilities the rest of us don't, Lars pointed out. Flight, multiple forms. That's pretty much the definition of superhero. She's not a comic book character, I said, but I was fighting a smile at Finn's enthusiasm. Superhero, Finn corrected with dignity. Mysterious, powerful, awesome. Through the bond, I felt her amazement. She'd never had people willing to stand with her before, never had a family that would face the unknown together. It sounds like something that makes people nervous, Rayna countered. Besides, Lars added with a slight smile, maybe the expert elders will have good news. Maybe you're something wonderful that hasn't been seen in generations. What if I'm not even Wolf? She whispered. What if the mating bond was a mistake? Impossible, I said immediately. I felt your wolf during the claiming. She's there, Ray, strong and clear. But the crystal showed nothing. Then the crystal was inadequate, Lars said dismissively. Not designed for whatever you are. You're overthinking this, Finn added. So what if you're unique? So what if the Panthers have never seen anything like you before? That just makes you special. Special gets you disappeared, she said, her grandfather's warnings echoing in her voice. Not anymore, I said firmly. Not with us. The entire pack will stand behind you, Lars agreed. You're our alpha's mate, our sister. They don't even know me. They know enough, Finn said. They know Rafe chose you. They know your pack now. That's all that matters. I watched my brothers work their particular magic on my mate. Lars with his steady logic, Finn with his irrepressible optimism, and felt hope growing in my chest. You realize I may be putting myself in real danger? I can't even guess what the outcome could be, Rayna pressed. I think you should do whatever feels right to you, Lars said carefully. But speaking personally, I'd want to know. Me too, Finn agreed. Secrets are poison. They eat at you from the inside. And if the answers are dangerous, then we handle dangerous, I said, squeezing her hand. We're wolves, Ray. Danger is what we do. She was quiet for a long moment, staring out over the city. Through the bond, I could feel her weighing options, fears battling with curiosity. The archivists will contact us today, she said finally, with word from the expert elders. And when they do, Lars prompted. I'll tell them yes. She turned to look at each of us. I want to know what I am, even if it changes everything. It won't change anything that matters, Finn said firmly. You'll still be you. Still be family. Still be mine, I added, bringing her hand to my lips. A soft smile crossed her face, the first genuine one I'd seen in days. Okay, we do this. Together, Lars confirmed. All of us, Finn added with a grin that was equal parts excitement and mischief. This is going to be interesting. Through the bond, I felt Rayna's fear finally giving way to something else. Not quite confidence, but determination. After 24 years of hiding, she was ready to step into the light. Ready to discover what she really was. Even if the truth changed everything. The message came that afternoon while we were having lunch in the hotel restaurant. Nikita appeared at our table with a formal expression that made my stomach drop. The expert elders have responded, she announced without preamble. They'll arrive tomorrow morning. Rayna set down her fork carefully. What did they say about the test results? That they've never encountered anything like it. Nikita's voice was professionally neutral, but I caught the undercurrent of fascination. Complete absence of lineage markers. No ancestral traces whatsoever. Is that bad? Finn asked. Unknown, Nikita replied. The expert elders specialize in unusual bloodlines, ancient lineages, lost shifter types. She looked directly at Rayna. They're very interested in meeting you. How interested? I asked, and my voice came out rougher than intended. Interested enough to interrupt their sacred duties to travel here personally. Nikita's expression flickered slightly. These are not shifters who leave their archives lightly, Alpha Rafe. My protective instincts flared. And after they meet her? That depends entirely on what they discover. Not reassuring. At all. How many are coming? Lars asked practically. 3, the eldest archivists of our people. Nikita paused. They bring tools and knowledge that haven't been used in several centuries. Rayna pushed her plate away, appetite gone. Ancient tools for an ancient problem. Perhaps, Nikita's voice gentled slightly, or simply the right tools for a unique situation. When do they want to begin? Rayna asked. Immediately upon arrival. 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Less than 24 hours. We'll be ready, I said. Nikita nodded and left us alone with the weight of tomorrow's unknown. Well, Finn said into the silence. This just got a lot more interesting. Interesting is one word for it, Lars muttered. Rayna was staring at her untouched food, processing. Through the bond, I felt her complicated mix of emotions. Fear, yes, but also anticipation. You okay? I asked quietly. Ask me tomorrow, she said, after we know. Fair enough. I just hoped we were all ready for whatever knowing would bring. That evening, I found Rayna back on the upper patio, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and crimson. She'd been quiet since lunch, lost in thought. Regrets? I asked, settling beside her. About what? Not taking Fandor's offer. You could still claim my lineage. Stop this before it starts. She was quiet for so long I thought she might not answer. Then, do you want me to? I want you to be safe. That's not what I asked. I considered my words carefully. No, I don't want you to take the easy way out. Why not? Because you've been hiding from yourself your whole life. And I think you're ready to stop. She leaned against my shoulder, warm and solid in mine. Tomorrow, she said softly. Tomorrow, I agreed. Whatever they find, we handle it together. Promise? I promise. We sat in comfortable silence as the city lights began to twinkle below us, each lost in our own thoughts about what tomorrow might bring. But through the bond, I felt her certainty. She was done running, done hiding. Tomorrow my mate would finally learn what she really was. And whatever that truth turned out to be, we'd face it together.